is very spammable and very easily achievable now from the tees. So it adds some depth to the tee side as well. Warden.
Yep, Warden, naturally. Complexity this time starting tee side. Ricky will get aggressive immediately with USP. Quick pop shot across. And I think rather evidently there's some presence toward alt middle as he gets toward the top of the boiler stairs. Can see the tracers and reticle and particles coming through the windows. Def toward bench, or former bench as it were. Still a little one there, a little homage. We'll back off.
Look at this from CLG. Finesse with the kit and Smoke will be the only B player.
Interesting that he does not play a little more forward. So obviously retake is primary objective, and it would leave the kit down inside of the site even if he falls. But yeah, usually you want to anchor and then cover off with more information. So the fact that they're pushing onto B, he's going to delay this with a Smoke. It's about perfectly timed in terms of the fact that they're just getting there and it covers entirely across. He's positioned as well so that if they flash through or want to push, he could try and be cheeky about it.
Now with the mollies, yeah, he's full blind. Gets the first oranges, but he should perish, and he will. And quick rotations come in, but it doesn't matter if he can find these shots, and that's a little unnecessary from Peter.
All he had to do was get the tree. I don't know why he continued to peek on that because he had the position. They didn't know that he was going to be there. As Kusta gets triple peeked inside of Ruins. He's got Def alongside that he has to take down next, and Kusta manages to do so. 1 versus 2. He's already gotten 3 kills. If he pulls this off, it's an ace in the pistol round for the AWP player. They're trying to buy space. Remember, that kit is down. Orange is 1, but he's going to pursue another kill for Kusta. And Android, the man who late lurked on rotation from A, therefore the late man to cover off Banana, pulls the round back. His only kill, it doesn't matter. It's the most significant.
They gave so many opportunities for Kusta, and he took every single one of them. As that was so close in the end, you're right. Android's only frag, but it's the one that's the most important in the entire round. And with a bomb plant, interestingly enough, CLG, actually they didn't get a bomb plant, excuse me. I thought they actually did. So with no bomb plant. Or am I tripping out?
No, they got a bomb plant, but
right.
they won it on kills, right? So it wasn't by detonation. Yeah, the scoreboard's throwing you off.
It's throwing me off.
No, bomb was down, yeah, because Kusta didn't go for kit.
I thought I was losing my mind for a second. Good thing you're here.
Yeah, in terms of sanity, I don't know if it is a good thing I'm here.
Might push me over the edge.
It's typically what I'm good for. So 4 UMPs and a Galil, so at least some range brought to Complexity's approach. Keep in mind, though, T side. Run and gun. SMG's perhaps more applicable. Naturally, they'll boost as well for Smoke Cross, but no aggressive stance. Having already lost FNS inside of B and A, they try and get a little more information, but Android covering off the apartment stairway has pushed them back out of boiler already, and they'll cover inside of the site.
CLG. Again, I feel like Flower Pot still gets overlooked. I know Complexity actually have a molly that bank off the wall that clears it, even when they smoke CT. Actually, we're going to get a scene it. So there's that molly that I was talking about. It pops on Flowers. Very underused, actually. Complexity is one of the few teams I've seen use it, mainly because it takes some time to line it up. Yeah,
well, exactly that. It takes time to line it up. You've got to get in position. You have to clear top Banana already. Astralis had it in their arsenal for a while, and typically speaking, it's also a tough one to throw depending on the smoke positioning because it can get extinguished. And secondly, you usually check that position and they might get a one and done. So a lot of teams thought it was going to be more prominent than it is. In a round like this, though, when you're against pistols, definitely worth throwing it because you don't want to be caught off by any lesser weaponry. As Ricky will at least get Android down post-kill, trade back, get the gun, and they'll save. They'll try to at least because he has armor. So too does Kusta and Cutler.
These SMGs may go for a little bit of a hunt for Complexity. Perhaps trying to get a little more cash. They're all going to exit the same way, so they'll be safe. Into this next one. Keep in mind, Ricky did save that upgraded pistol with his UMP, so perhaps I'll get tossed over to a teammate. Boop, exactly the case. Lands on Ethan's hands. So Finesse is going to be the only one who won't have any kind of weapon other than his default pistol, so very reserved from CLG not to just throw away what they got and give themselves one more chance, especially with the head armor. Maybe able to catch someone from Complexity, and who knows, you get 1 AK, that's all it takes sometimes.
Two players with armor certainly could lend itself to picking up further weapons. Just a little troll from Cutler. Get out of my corner, Kusta. Rather turtled setup, you have to say.
Quite. Spreading out, leaving the one weapon that they actually have towards the B site. Playing, I feel like First Orange is almost a one and done at this point. Especially considering you can peek it from water. But it's a surprise factor that's still in play. Smokes will rain in. Flash over. Are they going to be ready for Ricky's position? Definitely clear from water. Ricky gets one, but yeah, one and done is all it is in this round. And you know what? Kusta and Cutler could argue saving their armor again, but getting a buy into the next round is already going to happen. So perhaps trying to just drop some of these complexity members is ideal here.
Depends entirely on utility. The fact that Kusta's got 3,500, he should be fine either way. So FNS looks through the smoke. Peter on the other side will get taken down. Good shot. Further damage. Man advantage as well if they trade. If they can swing toward Emo, good find. Ethan, there might be something in it. No kit becomes the bigger factor, but get on it. Hold it. Kusta's going to do so. Android's got to find the spray correctly. 10-second defuse. He realizes late that he's got to get the fight. FNS has the kill, but do they have the time? I think they do. Yeah, they definitely do. That's a full 10-second defuse from CLG on a good hold.
That's CLG just using their numbers and straight up swarming complexity. A little bit of a box spray from Android in the end, but you can't really pin that on him. That's his teammates in sight, unable to work together. Giving room for these pistols to get close. Slemmy was stuck in. It's such a rough spot to hold water, especially in retakes. It's so hard to hang on with Android being smoked off. Now they will still get a bite with a round loss and a plant. Not as strong as perhaps it would have been and probably should have been.
Definitely favorable for CLG. As we mentioned, they were going to be the buy for Kusta anyway in the AWP. Thankfully, though, complexity is not entirely hindered by it. In fact, they can take the guns back from CLG now as Ethan goes aggressive. Smokes down, wants to try and get the pre-fire through it. That doesn't work as Def puts massive damage back onto Ethan, and he's forced back in the site with 12.
CLG, early on in this game, don't want to give up mid-control, or brackets as people call it. That can wrap in towards Arch and or Porch. Double setup towards Arch and one under Porch. Very committed. As you can tell, that takes a lot of communication, especially when one side gets smoked off to calm what utility you need and when to fall to pit. We'll see if they're going to trust Ricky solo B, and Ethan's just going to be this quick to rotate every single round. But it's great timing into this one, as it looks like Complexity are about to try to fight towards brackets.
Cutler holds angle at Boiler and instead play the Incendiary to hold them off. Hold off one side, but an approach on the other with a smoke down. And Kusta's found by Ye. FNS wants to time the repeat. He's going to try and hold off Moto inside smoke and let it dissolve. It worked as well because FNS oversteps the mark. BTR wants to be next in line, but he's pre-shot, and Ethan's able to wrap in behind. It's on Slemmy to hold inside of the site, and down he goes as well, despite the HP low on Ethan. And a good retake from CLG.
Seems very overwhelming from CLG. And it's crazy to me that they're, well, that's smart, and I really like to play from CLG, to be honest. It's kind of crazy that complexity that's happened, but CLG realized, okay, they're about to fight mid. They gave up brackets, fell back, and didn't try to fight them as they pushed into sight. They waited for rotations, and then they just held their angles. And then they started to fight once the players got there from the B site. And it's just very reserved from CLG, which I love to see.
So Ethan aggressive toward Banana early on. Gunless on the side of Complexity. Yeah, with armor. Very, very passive setup from CLG with guns. Obviously, don't want to give away anything to the pistols. Single smoke EA will isolate. Ooh, that's unfortunate, losing Def that early, especially inside of the hallway. But a single smoke to isolate the Arch side. Forces the hand of Cutler because he has to decide if he plays forward or back. They do have FNS already behind the statue, and correctly he'll take down Ye.
Yeah, he just holds Porch. May get caught out here as Endor's going to jump out first. Peter with them. Nice no-sig from Kusta. As Peter on 18, and Kusta's just dancing around at this point. And Peter tried to escape. And that was big play from Kusta. I was going to get the opener towards AAPS, but he does a nice job of falling off, staying alive. CLG always doing setups in which support each other so perfectly.
So well held, but now it's back to the guns again. Peter's going to go T-sided op. It's a tough side to play it on, but it requires Lacus to actually hit both there.
Jeez, I didn't even notice that one.
Yeah, tagged up Peter as well. Through the lag on the wraparound, no plant, obviously, as a result of his positioning and kills inside of the site. Now, with guns back up, Ye wants aggressive control inside of Banana. No nade stack on top of the Molotovs. It's always an awkward position. Now the nades come in. One close, one far. He's down to 37 HP. In fact, lucky to have just that to work with. Even that much to work with, as Ethan will take it away eventually on a re-peak. He does get tagged down to 73, but contribution is much to the success of CLG. And on top of that, they've got Death down to 22. For the Molotovs won't matter, or will it? Because they catch Ethan in transition.
Death's been having a lot of success through that smoke towards Banana.
It's true, yeah, he had the tags last round as well.
Just can't do anything off of it. Now that they've lost one player on the opposite side of the map, CLG are very willing to pull rotations. They have a lot of trust in the retake so far. I can't really blame them. They're willing to split 2-2. Def will lead the charge. They only have 3 smokes, so no mollies to really clean out any of these positions. And is Flowers going to get overlooked?
Slemmy in. Does completely overlook Flowers where he gets one. That's exactly the shot. One and drop, bring FNS back into it as they get overwhelmed. They'll finally flame off the backside of the Ruin rotation. Will allow the bomb plant. This Android will watch. 7 seconds, forget it. Put the smoke down early. But a 4-man retake, all coming from CT. No one electing to go toward Banana gives Android, or rather, excuse me, Slemmy a position where he can late peek despite only having 18. He'll confirm now no one is toward Banana. Get closer to the mix. Good find, Peter. Spots the tracers, realizes he has the lineup in the fountain position. They lose Android. Better still, he trades back on Kusta. 2 towards CT. Call should be made and should be read, as the bomb, I think, is too far gone at this point anyway. Peter just has to stay alive. Won't peek for more, just 2. Does go out for more. This point in time, nice shot up close from Peter as he gets 4 kills. He needs to get away. I think he's just going to get away before the bomb. Oh, he did. No, he didn't. He lost it. He did lose the op. I thought he might.
Wow, that's milliseconds off. Big play from Peter. I'm surprised that second player actually peeked from Coffins, knowing the op was posted there. As a glass cannon op will pay off for Peter. No such luck into this round. That's good for complexity now. They've had a significant amount of plants thus far. Half the rounds, so 6 out of 6 rounds they planted 3 times. It's a decent success rate of getting to site. All they need now is this opening pick potential without trades. Because CLG have, in my opinion, have been having really good rotations.
Slemmy, quick flash through. Additional smoke deployed again to isolate toward the arch. FNS is late there, but pulls the gun in time and, well, manages to, but nearly more as Peter gets taken down to 11. Loss bonus only at 1 round. Means that reset potential is massive against complexity. Bomb plant will be required at the very least if they want any chance of continuing forward in this half with good economy and momentum. More importantly with Death and Peter, 24 and 11. Needs the next pick, and then need to do it cleanly as Def gets closer and closer toward the apartment entrance. Chickens on the doorstep. That's kind of annoying because they can easily run out and reveal.
And Ricky is in a spot to just shut down complexity as soon as they make contact towards A site.
Cutler just holds them at bay. His flank timing would be pretty good. He's going to extinguish the Molotov. That'll reveal that they're there. Good read from Peter. Turns around and spots Ricky coming back up the stairwell as Android, therefore, has a bit more room to wiggle with. And the bomb in Peter's hand, realizing that they've gotten the kill behind them, is going to rotate all the way back over to B in the right time to do so. No one there.
But they have Android out in balcony. It might be a false sense of security here. He will win the duel against Cutler. Everyone from CLG is here as they have Kusta pinned, and now Peter's coming back with 8 seconds. They have to commit. The site was so open.
The problem is that Peter was on the way, but bomb was left behind, so we get caught out. Def gets taken down by Ethan, and that was almost such a good play, and the fact that they were running back over toward B and immediately Android found 2 would have held the Lurks at position, but Bomb never headed that direction with him.
Perhaps that was a little hesitation, because as soon as they killed Ricky, the Bomb wanted to rotate back, and Peter probably called, no, let me just hold flank. But CLG didn't even move whatsoever. They held, knowing Android was still trying to make so much presence. And if they would have committed to B, they would have had that round in the bag instead. That money is just in a world of hurt. And those are some veteran lips talking some words, I believe.
Yeah, miscommunication to the max. So Peter at least saves the M4. He'll full buy in with utility. So try and look for set piece perhaps from complexity around that M4 if they can get control of either the wall or banana. No AWP on the side of CLG. They're electing to run the rifles knowing that there won't be much against them.
That was one of those big swing rounds. Whoever won it would string rounds together, you'd assume. We'll see if that's going to be completely the case. Is off Ricky's screen. You look at the minimap, you can see how pushed up Complexity already are towards this A-App side. Def was ready to peek towards Pit instead. They'll pull back. They throw a smoke towards Library side, and Ye will get out brackets. They'll look towards Porch and Arch. But look at CLG's rotations. They have so much information with Ricky down banana.
Yeah, super solid position. Android again will try and play lurk if they do push through. But Ethan certainly ready for the fact they're going to push through. Arch doesn't take the bait to follow Slemmy as well. First kill, good shot back from Slemmy. Ye taking down Ricky as well as opened up banana. He can now, Slemmy hold, oh, gets caught out. As he wraps back around, I was going to say hold the CT position and hold off rotations. That would at least allow the bomb plant. Ye with the gun picked up as well. And Def with head armor. It would have been a rather interesting round, shall we say, if Slemmy was able to do so, but only at the 18 HP. And timing was not in his favor. FNS will slow down, get in behind the church, and await the rotations.
They're going to get aggressive. Ye's going to try to bait for him. He's going to swing into CC all 3. Look at this from Def. Oh, that is so monstrous. As a CZ is put on full display, as the Brit will show you how deadly he can really be.
That's pretty sick. Pops out perfect timing on that. That is so massive.
And the way they line up couldn't have been better.
Oh, so first off, the second bullet actually fired back to hit FNS first, and then Def got the kill straight up. That's pretty remarkable. CLG, yeah, I would look a little stunned with that too, FNS. Because that brings money back into the hands of Complexity and robs CLG completely in doing so. Yeah. And Complexity now find themselves in a situation where they could pick up toward that 6-7 round milestone that I always call a very decent half on the T side.
Pretty much any map, I think that's a fair number, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, fair enough, but Inferno especially.
Inferno especially, yeah, 100%.
Fair.
And the upper echelons, still CT-sided. Warden's getting into it. You know Warden is committed when his coat comes off.
Yeah.
He's complaining how cold it is. So, CLG, minus FNS, who actually stays at 2,400, which perhaps that was just him being more wealthy than his teammates. Interestingly enough, will only get a CZ.
Cheeky wall bang down the hall from Android. Bit of a lopside setup from CLG with pistols. They'll put 3 toward B instead. It's not uncommon in these situations. Ethan backs off through the smoke, and they'll take a gamble on rotation. And if the first stack didn't work, maybe the second one will as they head back across the map.
Android has to be a little careful. Mollies are hot, especially near teammates. Def will slowly work towards Archie. Knows Library smoked. What he doesn't know is how many members actually are behind that smoke. So will clear his left, try to find FNS, try to single them out. But they're going to come through the smoke, I imagine, any moment. Finesse gets caught out towards Pillar. Kusta coming in from Library. And it's great for Complexity. As they will just go ahead and take site.
Kusta walks out from the arch on the attempted retake, but they've gotten guns picked up in the form of UMPs. They do not have kits. And only 2 flashes to work with. It might be worth holding on to those UMPs to at least build up a further economy and utility in the next round. Any gun they take down beneficial, but Complexity should take the 5th round comfortably. And at least they know the situation in terms of economy, so they'll go aggressive. Def spots both. And we'll hold station immediately. CLG will split up as well so as not to lose both guns if they're found. And Def does chase down after Kusta, realizing he's in the wrong spot. The gun will be held for Ricky.
Armor UMP. I mentioned FNS saved a bit more cash in his teammates. I mean, he's in buy zone. Of course, no one else is. So he's just going to go 2 rounds in a row CZ with armor. He'll actually get up in there with Ricky. Maybe a little quasi, at least for himself. As I don't, if my math's correct. Nah, Kusta will be okay, actually. Maths was never my strong point, of course.
Seldom is, I think, for many people. Def. This time will be the one to pre-fire the hallway. Not a much better situation for CLG to be in as the double eco hits hard after losing on a force buy. Ye will take down Ethan as a result, and Ricky this time's the one to save over the UMP. He'll get flashed back in. They want to try and catch them off without vision. It won't work. PTR shows up, and he was transitioning out as the others were blinded. Came in. A second flash will work. Ricky, unfortunately ran out of ammo. Couldn't reset the aim in time on the pistol. Will get taken down by PTR, and Slemmy follows up. Just FNS remaining.
Nearly wins that duel with Android, who cleans it up. Complexity from what was. You know, if there's one thing I actually can say about Complexity's start, is their bomb plants, which allowed them to get a few more buys and preps. Well, they could have gotten on the board. So far this game, going into round 11, they've had 5 bomb plants out of 11, or out of 10 rounds. Still getting that 50-50. As, you know what, my math was correct in my head. I should have went with it. Should have went with my gut. Kusta will not have it on. So he is just going to have to go into the M4. As Peter will get his out onto the playing field. CLG continue. Have some interesting setups early on, but it's the typical 3 towards B, you rotate 1 off. Not so passive anymore as CLG.
No, they need to get a little more aggressive and hold off map control at this point in time. Now that the backup to rifles, no ops on their side still. PTR does have an angle to hold toward quad. Gives them control of mid-wall in doing so because it's also pushed up Def into a position. I think I was going to say it was going to peek. I thought he was going to peek toward the archway, but I think probably better off to hold position, at least for now, where they evaluate and try and push back rotations on B. They have gone for the early man to the 4-1. Ricky alone there, 4 to cover.
I like the jump spots. Doesn't want to hold an angle. Spots it out. And that was only 1 flash from Ye to force Ricky all the way backside and pull a rotation.
This works. You're right. 1 flash from Ye, and Ethan gone. The smoke off on Arch after Def confirms there's no one peeking, and they'll start the wraparound play. Android's going to be the late lurk to pop out from the apartments as soon as they're distracted, and everyone puts their attention toward Library. Good shot from Slemmy. FNS gets him back. Def pops out, takes him down. Android doesn't even need to do anything at that point in time because all the kills are found. He'll re-smoke Library as a result to hold rotations at bay, and they're not even going to arrive. They're going to be saving on the CLG side. Excellent start to this half for Complexity. Excellent start to this game. They're going to find their 7th already.
And when CLG run out of utility like that and Ricky's forced to jump spot, you almost have to make a risky rotation. And heads up for Complexity to realize, you know what, let's just show face towards the banana late. Try to pull one of those players, knowing CLG have been very rotation heavy. A chance was taken from CLG, and Complexity capitalized on that. And it looks like they are just going to save, although they could afford to go on a little bit of a hunting spree with a couple players. But it looks like they will just go ahead and exit towards T-spawn. Ethan and Ricky will hang on to their rifles, as this is shaping up to be a wonderful T-side for Complexity.
Super solid indeed. AWP for PTR has been actually reasonable on the T side. Most of his kills coming on other weaponry, but now he's holding it at 9. And Def has been remarkable. More, perhaps none less so than the CZ75 triple spray down that ultimately was the turning point at this point, because double eco immediately for CLG. As a result, they're able to bring up weapons on the Complexity side, and CLG's been struggling to buy back into this ever since. They'll force what they can around 12 and distribute the wealth evenly between both Ethan and Ricky, who saved over. In fact, okay, they're going to force completely around it, which means one kit, not a lot of utility, which is something you rely on. Okay, all right, so I take that back. They did buy out 5 smokes. No sooner do I say it than they make a liar of me, but I was going to say they only had 2 smokes originally. That would have made things extremely awkward to hold off, but rifles are not exactly the ideal setup. Standard play from PTR. No one tends to rotate, aside from when you have an early spawn in front of the top mid position anymore.
Complexity. I like their switch ups. They have a few defaults they go for. The late banana one, the mid-focused one, and the spread very thin. And just have Ye spot banana while getting AAPs. They like switching about these 3. And they've almost forced CLG to have to fight, but in rounds like this, they almost can't afford to. They've done a nice job of keeping CLG, and I guess the best way to summarize it is honest. They need to just tighten up these rotations.
Cutler. Reverse angle so he can support Kusta and FNS, and therefore they can play forward, but it gives a lot of room toward the apartments. Slemmy's already out. Slemmy's already out and peeking. No response. I thought they were going to be slow to react. Good find from Kusta, but Android does get Cutler. I don't love that half-wall position. Android's done better than that. He'll take Kusta down as well. This will force the rotations. It's exactly what the Lurk needs to do. And even though FNS gets the kill back, Ricky's well and truly left the B site. It's pressure on against Ethan. Second smoke down. He's well aware of the fact that they are inside of Banana. Third was a smoke. I think he saw the nade go high on the right side and thought it was a flash. So looked away, but gets through the smoke, dissolves away, and gets a single kill that was slow to take. Peter's got to give up the AWP as a result and get onto the AK-47 so he can contribute. Still, they aren't sure the backside. It's clear, so a boost to Flowers, and unfortunately, their own hesitation cost them. They slow down a little bit too much, and Ethan does a fantastic job of peeking when he needed to.
One thing that I did was actually remarkable to me is he was able to maintain his crosshair at headshot level while in the smoke. So when he swung out, the first player was just instantly dead. And staying alive there is so critical because you saw he actually cleaned up the last by getting boosted, and he gave time for that banana player to come around. So that is just extremely heads-up play from just a young player. Watching him play, it's almost like you'd think he'd been around for a bit longer, just by the way he played that one out. So this time, CLG will get a deep smoke off. So no free banana for CLG into the beginning of this round. And in response, which I really like from Complexity, they say, well, we do not get banana, we'll at least get AAPs. Hold it for later, but that's a bit of a misstep from the youngster in Ye. Especially considering if he's not going to call for any assistance utility-wise, or maybe even Peter comes through with him. And those are 2 opening picks you just can't give up.
FNS is going to try and get late cubby, which can be beneficial in the fact that they may think they've already cleared it. I didn't see a Molotov go in that position, though, so when they go through the smoke, Slemmy will have to consider it. Molotov thrown that's immediately extinguished. It was too soon. He's given up the position as well. FNS and thought better of it, so Slemmy has to be wary of the fact that Ricky's inside of the arch. No kill found. Android does create space that will bring attention. Great shot on Kusta. He's starting to come alive. Finally on the T side with slow and passive play and good accuracy as he gets further around. Slemmy's got the shot on FNS. And Slemmy will trade Ricky, which now gives him a one-on-one against an AK-47 on Ethan, who has a smoke and a kit. That is significant. One-on-one, it's less likely you can try and deter the diffuse, or rather deter the peak from it, but inside of the site, Slemmy's not going to play your common post-plant positions toward both Graveyard and the pit. So this may not be checked as Ethan's going to come out from Library. Unfortunately, Slemmy's changed his angle at the exact second that he's going to cross. So it's a matter of angles late when he taps to bait. Okay, spotted. Slummy's got this now, no question. He's got no idea, or does he? Ethan goes back out. Bomb was covered off by the smoke, and what a peek.
That is absolutely insane to me. And that was a big 3K there coming in from Ricky. And maybe you have to perhaps think that if Slummy has more bullets other than just the 5, maybe that goes somewhere from there. As Complexity, regardless of really how the rest of this half goes, they'd love to put more rounds on the board, but 7 is still a very arguable fight. As Ethan just got some grace in that timing. Back towards the 3 top banana to get the mollies, get the pressure, and perhaps chip away at some of these key players who will actually fire back. This is an exchange of so much money.
Def's lucky he actually, I mean, it seems weird to say that because the nade landed pretty much on his feet, but he's lucky he's as forward as he was with the amount of utility that went down banana. That could have been even further damage. As I say that, he takes and cops a second nade to go down to 36. However, with smokes, he's up close, and Ricky pushes immediately through. Good spray down from Ethan, knowing the position and the angle. Unfortunately, he's traded out, but FNS is not. He'll pop through and find 3, and Android finds himself rather outnumbered, I should say. AK, swap out, no question, wants the bomb back, but they're rotating toward Ruins at the time that he's got a smoke drawn, and FNS could easily time this to perfection. No need to get over aggressive, though, FNS, because there is a shadow position, so Android spots him before he had the read as to the fact that he was in water.
Oh, that smoke started to fade just on the corner.
Cutler's so unsure as to where he's going.
He has to decide, doesn't he? So he is going to commit.
That might have been enough time for kill cam call because Cutler heads over and Android tried to wait it out. Remember, kill cam's shortened significantly in this config, but even still, he's close enough by that he'll hear the plant going down. He's going to get up close with Android, who's still looking the other direction, and Cutler does win by surprising him and getting the correct read toward the A site.
Deadly close. As Android almost makes him pay. Good ups to the Finesse. A lot of people popping through smokes into that round, and Finesse will finally be the one to shut that kind of play down. Although he did end up a little over swinging on towards Graveyard, but you can't really fault him for it. As it is going to be a pause now, 7-7, final round of the half. I mean, these rounds have been so close at the end. 2 plants, 3-round loss for Complexity. They've come down to pretty much just clutches the last few. And CLG have started to win them, which has been nice for them. But beginning of the round control, map-wise, it's been very clean for Complexity.
Yeah, but even with that win, I mean, look at the money as well.
Yeah.
Both teams are in complete disarray going into round 15. It's slightly better off for CLG, but goes to show you how back and forth some of the rounds have been, and a lot of clutch situations. Android leads the way for Complexity with 12, in fact. Not far off the top of the leaderboard. FNS is 14 to be just one ahead of Ricky. Rick A, as we're in Canada. We probably should say it not how it's intended to be spelled.
Get the A's in there.
Exactly.
Do you say Z or Z?
Z.
Okay.
I try to, but sometimes I forget.
Some people get mad when you call Z Z.
I don't really have a citizenship. I do, but I don't.
Okay.
Good crossfire. No one's checked coming. This could be huge for FNS. He only manages 2 because they respond in time, but it was potential for so much more. In the meantime, Android has walked out to find Cutler, so the wraparound success works because pit cleared, another A site gathered.
Android's really come to life, finding these opening picks on towards site, and making CLG sweat in the clutches. And now CLG are in the clutch Complexity here in this retake, having just a nade and a flash, 1 kit.
Timing was everything there.
I think Android's going to come up behind him. Oh, he's actually going to stay boiling. These are 3 positions hard to clear.
Fine from Ethan, but Slummy does not need to peek. Knows he's in the open. When he does get the first kill, but Ethan above. Good read. Slummy slides back out. And Complexity take a win on the T side of Inferno, 8-7. You mentioned Android coming alive. A lot of that was due to his timing and the fact that I think the Arch was the best approach the Complexity had all game. The fact that they were able to exploit Arch and allow him, once they had full confirmation that the library was clear, because library counters the entrance, obviously, from the apartments. As soon as that's covered off and the distraction inside of the site, they're a little bit scattered and they have no crossfire, he was able to walk out and get a number of entry kills that were super solid. Even when lurking, he had good success in that position.
Superb timing every single time. Slummy that short. Never
Yes,
noticed.
Slummy does look a little short right now, doesn't he?
Never noticed that.
That actually does look ridiculous. It's actually it's a Warden camera.
The coach cam. Well, Slummy, of course, will be the utility man. They get the kit. And that blind pills behind them. CLG are just looking to swarm, looking to fight. I like this from Complexity, actually. Peeking towards AAPS. Peeking towards mid. They know exactly what's coming, but an immediate push on towards Def. And this is going to open those floodgates. They're going to go. And a retake will be difficult if Android falls, just as I'm about to think it and speak it. He goes down, and just Ricky and Finesse to mop it up. This should not happen for Complexity.
Could find FNS on Ye at least to clear Cubby. Kusta immediately takes out Slummy, so CLG get the pistol, which gives them a chance to stretch legs early. AK buy for Ethan. And naturally, the force buy from Complexity, the pistol armor buy.
I'm a big fan of nade stacks in the rounds like this. Suppose it becomes readable, but
Yeah, I mean, it can work. It can do significant damage. You can do it from both angles, right? Top, mid, and banana.
They actually have a preset flash here to CLG, so it pops behind them. And they can keep fighting mid. Speak of nades, Android and Ye will be greeted by 3. As well as a molly. Make it 2. Looks like it's never going to end. That's a lot to get top banana control, and only leaving Ricky here. They could lose it for the amount that they've invested into it.
Def is going to peek this. And, I was going to say if FNS goes right, could actually be found, but better still, he gets the shot on the back of the head. Tougher hitbox to hit, but elevated position makes it significantly easier, as Cutler will get him back before such time that a gun or any further damage could be established. Distributed. Another cheeky angle for Android. Keep potential with his teammates. He and Ye combine to get a kill, but then they will both go down to Kusta.
I like the way you said that.
Kusta? Yeah, I thought you might.
Drag it out
Did
a
it
little
just
bit.
for you.
The flare. You know I like the flare.
All about the flare. You have to wear 15 pieces of flare. That's the minimum.
I was thinking more Ric Flair, but that's okay too.
Actually, well, it's Office Space that I was referencing. I actually watched part of it the other day. Then the plane landed and I couldn't finish. I was really disappointed.
Good thing you didn't stay on the tarmac for 7 hours.
Been there, done that. Peter's going to save. Naturally, CT side picking up a UMP. Gives them something at least in the next round with the smoke as well, which can be beneficial on banana side. For obvious reasons, toward the top. Gives them a chance to get a rotation back so they could actually stack toward A if they'd like to.
Never noticed how clean this kitchen is.
Did you see the round where Astralis made dinner?
No.
They were basically using an additional round as a timeout, so they all just came up here and sat around the table. Well, I think it was Dupree cooked, and Glaive basically talked about the next round.
I wouldn't think Dupree would be the chef in that family.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd trust Dupree's cooking, to be honest. Probably burn water.
It's hard to do. Certainly possible. As Peter, interesting enough actually to me, will invest into some body armor around this SMG. But hovering around 3K, he'll be good with the 3-run loss to get the op. So not the biggest concern. So it looks like Complexity are an interesting stack towards Arch side. So they'll use the one smoke. I'm interested to see what Complexity are doing here. Looks like Def is holding a flash. So they'll both play anti-flash towards Arch with a Def flash and Slemmy's shoulder peeking. I don't mind this.
Ethan. Already toward the top of banana means with Mac 10 especially, he can strike as soon as the flashes are thrown and therefore has the movement mechanics, and he's just earned himself a nice $1,200 for his efforts on the weapon. Therefore, he can justify the upgrade when the time comes, Ricky. He's already got his upgrade to the AK-47 and takes down both Peter and Slemmy on rotation, leaving us with just poor old Def. He's trying to be cheeky inside of the smoke, but that's never going to work in this round, unfortunately.
Well, here we have it. I told you guys Peter would have enough for it. I wasn't a... He is, I guess, buying that armor in the previous round really hampered him when it comes to, as I knock over the entire desk, the armor side of things. So we're going to need some kind of play here from Peter. Again, this is the first rifle round of this Tide. If Complexity lose it, which makes things so difficult. And there you have it. Peter peeks, finds Cutler. Great start. He'll fall all the way out. Now the green light went to yellow for CLG, as they will just halt things up.
Kusta will be the slow evaluation toward Banana. Smoke's down at the tops. Bomb is still dropped intentionally toward T-stairs as well, so pick strategies. Firmly what CLG are looking for, having already lost Cutler as well. CT side, I expect Peter to have a lot further contribution and impact with the op.
Completely agree. It's almost, I think, T-side Inferno is one of the hardest maps to be a T-side opper.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of teams that still like to run 5 rifles very intentionally as a result of it. Guardians had some phenomenal T-sides, but Guardian's a bit of an anomaly in that category.
He's on or he's off. Looks like the retake is on. They're going to go for a bit of a stack here towards second oranges. Both going to be there. Yay. Great first kill. The Molly will take care of him. This is looking great. They're not expecting Android to be here, and it's just the money spot, and he's just going to milk it and find some franks.
So that actually comes from the fact that that's somewhat of a pull from the former SK strategy on the previous iteration of Inferno to get Molotovs down to cover Oranges 1 and Oranges 2. They threw theirs deep. It did actually hit part of New Box, but there's a gap. And Android, I don't think they were expecting to still be there because when they walk in, they check right side at New Box and leave him at Oranges 2 entirely. So the fact that that doesn't land gave him so much room to make a perfect play in that situation. So held off well from Complexity. They'll take what is the first gun round. It hasn't broken down CLG entirely based on how well they started the half, but this round certainly has it all to play for. Kusta, by the way, upgrades to the AWP as a result of going down in the previous round.
Well, we'll get to see his T side up. It's a perfect hold from Peter. And they pretty much bait that in where they throw the flash and Peter delays the peek. And so CLG trying to take advantage of it themselves.
And look at Peter as well.
Yeah.
CT sided op, as soon as they get the kill on B, go over toward A. Funnel them on the other side of the map, and then they won't be expecting the op to have a presence here as well. It's a perfect call, and he gets toward the library, one of the most powerful positions for it. Kusta, I'll have to quick peek this to perfection. No pre-scope, wants the fast quick scope instead, and he catches Peter having thrown a smoke. That opens up the library side entirely.
Somewhere Moses is grinning, but will it turn to a frown if the first round goes sour? As they will smoke off library, Def and Pit. Mollied off will fall to first. And that spot from Slummy is so strong if it goes unchecked. They actually have a molly for it. Kusta finds a second. Ethan doesn't finish his food, but he's got Cutler to help him chew. Well, that's Android and Ye to make a retake.
Smoke down, covers off Android's position. He's going to wait and let Ye get closer. It's tough to go through the smoke, no flash as well. I take that back, actually. Android has one, but this is going to be a peak potential instead. Boost up, they see it as well in the corner. Can't get the shot, but they now know both are there. So both players from CLG can cover according angles. Ethan goes back the other way, but Cutler waits till they push through the smoke lineup perfectly, and CLG takes round 11.
Cutler, to be very frank, has been very quiet this entire tournament for CLG. But you know what? If he can, every game I've seen him have one individual play that either picks up a round, or a round that resets a team, or a round that gets them the win. And if he can keep having one or two big impact plays per game, and then be that support player, I'm all for it. So that round he'll hang on into the post plant, as it is going to be Complexity again. Just lovely pistols. CLG this time will push up in towards B, and if played correctly, they should get a good idea of the emptiness of this site.
Ricky's trying to gamble that someone inside of the site or not would be looking as if they flash through. In fact, with the stack as we see it, there's no one at all. Whether they've missed that window of opportunity is debatable, though, and they've got a flank from Def all the way down alt middle. If they can hold them inside of the banana, which is easier said than done, it may give them a chance for at least one. Smokes down, entrance, and CLG has the site to work with. In fact, they may do so with such time that they'll turn around. In fact, they do. FNS realizes they've gotten in so far that he can turn his obligation elsewhere. And the flank gone, the potential loss, they'll back away.
CLG just took so long sitting top banana, and Complexity just made a play on the opposite side of the map. If they realized a few seconds earlier, perhaps they get a stack in sight, and Dev's a bit more behind them. But the superior buy. And again, I have to compliment CLG, even when they know the money's broken or very low or perhaps forced buy. Taking no chances. Some teams you'll see will throw very little utility when they know the other team's on a half buy or save. Slimmy's going to try to be cheeky about it, try to perhaps drop some of these guns. Android will just join them. CLG, if they continue to be that clean with their utility, again, they're going to be needing big plays from Android once more.
So double eco territory for Complexity. And even though they could have gone for an aggressive force, they're going to take it on the chin and actually just buy into a scout for PCR. No, excuse me, for Def. So he's got the scout and the rest go for armor pistols. Which if he hits body shots, Def will benefit the pistols significantly, obviously. Take the 70 damage and put them in one-shot range. Sort of complement the strategy in that regard as a Molotov lands. Ye's forced back. With the deagle, he won't be able to spot down banana any further, and Ricky's already on top of the logs as well to spot him if he were to re-peek.
Knowing Ye and knowing the situation, perhaps he will.
Yeah, 47 HP kind of hinders that a bit.
Yeah. As soon as he spots that smoke. Yeah, all right. Good comms. Won't double use their smokes, so that will delay CLG. And you can see CLG, by taking their time so much here towards banana, Complexity get a good read on rotations now. They don't have the weaponry to back that up, and maybe two smokes may throw CLG for a bit of a loop here. But it looks like they're still so committed. FNS finds a gap, makes them pay. His spray is a little off, and CLG is still going to linger. Complexity are going to start to rotate at any moment.
Kusta finds depth on the way through. AKs to enter. Late rotation through CT. They've got a deep smoke as well, which allows them to wrap around. A very cool strategy to give them Ruins control. And Android, he's going to try and camp out Emo. So even though they wrap through, they won't be able to spot him immediately. And he's going to turn his attention that direction, gets behind the pillar. It'll take most of the bullets, unfortunately. Not all of them. Ethan still finds him and takes him down. PTR found inside a banana. Round done. CLG will take round 13 inevitably as Slummy's against 4.
That's very neat. Have you seen that iteration yet of something like that?
G2 used to have one very similar.
Okay. I like the very deep CT smoke, and then they make sure to make a full wall front sight.
I think, yeah, I've seen that a few times. I think CLG does deploy one toward Orange's 1, not water, because I think they bypass the first smoke, and then they can see back toward New Box, but they can't get shot from anyone who's playing Fountain on the way through while they run toward CT. So I think they put one. They don't put a full wall.
I think that's a... Is that a 4-smoke execute?
The full wall would be 4 smoke. You can do they do 2 smoke on G. I think they've done a 2 smoke on the G2 side. I'd have to look back at a demo of it.
Yeah. Very committed that is from CLG.
And usually if they deploy a third, it goes toward coffins because that way at least that guy's pushed back on the angle as well.
Oh, Peter. I think he's going to get chased down here. Just barely makes it around the corner and has the gumption to re-peek it. Thought he was dead to right side. AK tried to chase. As 2 openers now come in for Complexity. As Android makes his life valuable, and yay, it was a perfect bait. Not only did Android get a kill, baiting that player forward. Nice shot from Ricky, but needs 3 more of those.
He's got the chance to get an isolated shot toward Peter. Unfortunately, Peter for him has the AWP. Complexity now finds double digits, 13-10. As they want to extend this series as best as possible at all costs, I should say, because CLG took map 1, 3 rounds away from doing so on Inferno, and they've got money still left over to buy. In fact, Kusta had... Is that HUD? No, it's not. That's actually real money. I thought that was pre-buy money, and it didn't update. He had a ton of money left over.
Complexity. Trying to fight again towards Banana. This time Peter was mollied off. They don't give him the choice. Don't give him the chance. And CLG are more mid-centric. More focused this time. As flashes and smokes will rain over. They've got brackets control. So maybe in a world of hurt. He knows AMS is clear, so it allows Depth to focus up and get a double spray towards Porch, and Slemmy doubles down himself.
Sick hold.
And that was while blind.
Sick crossfire set up inside of the graveyard position as well. Total shutdown. And forget the money on the... Wow, again, they're surprising me with how much they have, because Kusta's got so much more than I was doing the math for, but that's after 2 rounds of loss. They still have so much brought up based on those 3 rounds, so they'll be able to buy yet again. But the money does build up significantly for Complexity. More importantly, they stay efficient. Not much reinvestment required, small amount of utility.
The craziest thing here is for CLG. Of course, they'll invest here, but then they'll have 3-round loss, so it's only a 1-round save until they get rifles out again.
With bomb plant, it's not even that.
Well, right, they can just do it the following one if they do get a plant. And they still have plenty of cash. Still. Okay, he didn't buy an AK. I was tripping out.
There's 2 guns on the ground.
Right.
Because Kusta had 72 and he's down 7,100.
Yep.
So.
And Cutler just bought his own, so it is only Kusta still to have money.
And yeah, 4,200 bought from Ricky. So there's 1 gun definitely on the ground somewhere. That's at least 1. I think there's 2. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So the AK is in utility. Again, as you mentioned, if they get a bomb plant and still lose this, it's $800 plus $300 planner and a 3-round loss. They'll buy again. So critical that Complexity hang on. Because they are not completely out of the woods themselves. They're good for 1 more buy after it.
Cutler playing the cheeky angle to see if there'll be any aggression toward Boiler Door. This angle previously did not exist on the last iterations of Inferno. In fact, any of the iterations of Inferno up until this one.
Takes some commitment to get to.
It's not actually that hard. It's not a skill jump. There's nothing above you, so it's not like you have to pre-crouch it.
It's definitely nice if you have a player playing under Porch, 2 different levels to completely focus on. That's Yay. I like this from him. He's been noticing teams using this mini wall to be able to use as a height advantage. As Slemmy full blind. Meantime gets killed towards mid, and there you go, Def from the flower pots, although he's committed to this angle. Perhaps should have just fallen off. Instead, his dead body falls, but at least Ye finds that answer elsewhere. That's
extremely bold from Def. It's such a great angle if you've got support there. And as soon as he got 1, they knew the angle existed. He doesn't have any further information around the corner and decides to try to catch them off. It's not exactly warranted, as Kusta with 2 kills, only on 19, is already wrapping around this Cutler space. I don't know if Andrews recognized the fact that Cutler's that far forward. He spotted Kusta, but not Cutler. And they'll wrap through. Speedway. Call has to be made, and Ye has to be ready. He's got to get himself a position and nearly get spotted in doing so. He'll buy himself some space toward Boiler, but Cutler's much closer than I think he anticipated after heading the gun away. Draws it back, can't get a shot, and this might end up being CLG's round strictly as a result of the rotations through and the fact that the timing was off.
Yeah, perhaps Ye did a little mini panic there. Wanted to just focus. Because they both have kits. Oh, this nade should take care of Kusta.
Kusta's gone, yep.
Goodbye. That's a dunk. Now, the nice thing is CLG still have so many flashes to use.
He's got 2 kits, though. But they need to go in the next 5 seconds, if not sooner. Flash over, that's going to blind them up, deter them away. And with Cutler holding the angle, with partial vision still not restored, he's able to find 1. Peter's got to give it up. AWP needs to be held over, and it's not going to be. There's not much chance of escape in a linear perspective. And we go 14 rounds for CLG. 2 to go as Complexity, having tried to draw back into this and nearly break down CLG's money, unfortunately get hit themselves. They will have enough to force buy, and they need to. I think you can't concede overtime point on map 2.
No, keep in mind, if they do drop this, they will not be eliminated. There's always that loser's bracket, but you really don't want to go to that loser bracket. Liquid waits you. So that's a scary loser bracket. You'd think they'd be winner's side, but no. They await you as if you drop this game. That's Kusta. The first time I'll actually see him push up Banana by himself. He actually has a little bit of rifle support. And himself will get it towards Logs. As Cutler will do the spray, and you can see he actually landed on Peter. Those walls are very paper thin. It's kind of misleading. As Def maybe spotted here, dink through the wall towards Ethan. Force him off the angle. Great molly from Ye in the meantime towards Banana. Kusta had nowhere but to go. Trying to run out of it. So, an opening frag and damage out from Complexity. They're not out of it. Not just yet.
Okay. On the half wall. Waiting to see if there'll be any aggression. Good stance to have, but a man down, they need to find the pick. Android's not buying anything. He's not going to peek out. There's no need to with the man advantage. There's no need to give it away, so they'll secure positions for cross instead, and Android will rotate back off based on the smokes. That's where they want to go, though. Ye, partially blind on Flowers. Should have the shot from above. Needs to drop down. Can't quite line it up, but manages somehow to still find Ricky. And a flurry of frags that favors significantly the complexity side based on the HP, but they find Android spraying, and Ethan gets the kill somehow with 4 HP.
Still looking good for complexity. Solely based on the life points, as there's no banana flank coming through. Moves to flower pots, and that's a smart play to get over the smoke, and they're going to go. Slemmy's not going to stop. He's calling for them to go, and it's just Cutler. Can it be a big clutch again? No, it's Slemmy. Slem Dog will pull it back for complexity.
Pulls it back, and this time I think actually, even though the bomb plant came in, it was a reset potential that even though the economy is so well built up, it does hit them with only 1,400 plus the 18 on top of that. So this is a significant chunk of change gone out of the CLG bank account that could justify armor and pistols, which is what they're going to do because they know the money's still low on the complexity side, but this brings it to, should bring it. Stranger things have happened in CSGO. I always need to be careful when I stipulate against pistols that it should bring it to a one-round game, but so long as complexity don't get too careless.
Especially on this map with pistols. I've had some moments. I like this from Slemmy. Deep banana smoke safely thrown from him, so he doesn't have to actually be the third man there. But if CLG start counting utility, if they were there, I would assume there's 3. As it looks like CLG are more focused towards the A side of things, where Peter and Def will set up. So Peter will take the shot on the first, and Def will be there essentially to clean up the others. It's a risky setup, to say the least.
No, but it's actually a smart setup. The thing is exactly that. Peter has to stay forward, and he has to hold the angle after they rotate off the position and Def backs off, because if he backs up at all, they trip over each other. And if he leaves first, Def gets caught in transition. The fact that the AWP holds, it works really well. It's actually an underrated setup, but it's you can't use it all the time for utility reasons, and obviously it's depending on whether or not they go that direction, but it's well done, it's well struck, and Def will close the round as a result of it, so good job from complexity. A lot of people try that, and they put the AWP back.
And the rifler forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want the rifler to be as far back as he can so he can just jump out of the way and keep the angle held from Peter.
Give that one-shot ability to be the repeater. And it's another round where CLG, perhaps they overbought in the last round. Can be argued. As I think it's just going to be another half pint, allow complexity to tie this up. I don't think you have any other choice. No, they're going to go for the AKs. I mean, it's going to be risky. The reason I say this is because Ethan has no utility. Ricky, yeah, he gets an AK, but it's a UMP finesse. And a map like Inferno, it uses a lot of utility, and it makes it so much easier if everyone has utility on your team to fight for that banana. Even mid-control and arches, it takes a lot to gain a little. Especially with complexity, we've been able to fight back. Would not surprise me if we have this one tied up in a moment.
Deep smoke, nade follows. Peter wants to take advantage of it, but no vision. Half wall position, but he'll fall off of it. They aren't going to anchor for early rotation, but they do still have a forward stance toward mid as well, so very limiting for CLG, but a minute to work with. Still Slemmy spotted. I would rather just hold the angle than try and shoulder peek it in that position. I understand the mentality of not being caught out, but it's just so easy to get that shot, especially when you see so much on a rifle position.
Especially how thin those walls are, but Def is going to try to bring it back, and no. Ethan, the wide swing is what Def wasn't prepared for. And now they're going to go, but all of a sudden, out of thin air, Android pulls a double. And there's one player wrapping, that's Kusta. Android may fall, but he could have done enough, but FNS has been so quiet.
Didn't necessarily need to leave Graveyard, but he did so well to find the first 2 kills. The problem isn't leaving it. He leaves Ye hanging. It's Peter that has to clutch it back.
Bombs down up in A-Apps.
Def also didn't need to push, so a bit of aggression that's almost, I think, forced, and The point from Complexity. Gusta's going to go safe plant. FNS will hold the rotation. Peter does have the off, but he's going for the pistol a lot of times in clutch situations. Doesn't have the confidence for the quick scopes, and FNS will catch him in transition, immediately put it on map point for CLG.
Oh, and the money is just not good is the best way to put it. And you're right, Android left his teammate in sight to dry. We'll see what the play is going to be here. So they actually fully commit, as we can see on screen, into this. At least we can see. Don't want to mention it, but although we are cutting house, I forgot about that.
Yeah, during timeouts we typically are. But I mean, look,
we're so close.
Nah, but it's inevitable you're going to get forced by out of this.
Yeah.
Like,
but what they get
rather
out
obvious. Yeah, that's the thing, because it's actually dropped across based on pretty much a double kill, and Android's going to take it on the chin to take the deagle as a result of it.
Not a lot is the perfect way to describe it. Peter's found success early, normally towards Banana, but that molly has been shutting him down from doing so. Maybe a boost will be in the works. That's the case. Ricky, great crosshair placement. Goodbye, Peter. He read the situation perfectly, and I think there may even be a shadow tip to that.
I like how Ricky's so old school, he still stares at nades. Doesn't make a difference. Oh, if he was crouched, he may have spotted through the smoke. Yay almost gets at him as a result, but in being blinded and falling back, he's unfortunately made terrible use of his utility. Smokes the cubby. Just go full ninja. Not going to work.
Flash to allow Dev to peek. Lovely timing, but it maybe, I mean, I don't think he was getting out of there regardless. Slemmy will do his best. Barrel won't save him.
The old UMP might have, had a chance for that. Good patience on the discipline and trigger from Android. Tries to spot out the tracers against Ricky as well as he's smoked off. He's got to give Ye a chance to rotate over is the problem, so he's buying space, but unfortunately they've gotten to the site, and he's yet to pick up a weapon. Ricky's going to flash off top mid, expecting that he might push through as well with the deagle to go for where there's downed bodies and weapons available. And the flank from Ethan toward Boiler should catch Android out in trying to find the AK-47. In the process of that, Ye still with the AWP, finds one, knows Ricky's inside of pit as well, but he's burning alive, and as he burns alive, Ethan does find Android with position. 16-13, CLG take the series 2-0.
That map was a lot closer than perhaps others would have suspected. A lot closer than the first map. You really do have to speak to just the deadliness in the entire CLG lineup. I mean, Cutler even started to warm up, but when Cutler's starting to find frags, you know everyone else is doing really well. And you can see how tight-knit that was. The lowest was 15. The highest was 24. I mean, there was not a lot of gap there in the fragging from CLG. So the whole team as a whole showed up. And you saw moments of brilliance from CLG, or from Complexity, with Def and CZ. Android made some big plays. Peter hitting some shots. Everyone had their moments, but it was just coming together in the end to string rounds together and finding consistency is where they fell through there.
Their A-side site crossfire was actually really solid.
Very nice.
And the fact that they were able to utilize Graveyard, I think, which is something that, despite that it doesn't have the fence anymore, it's less intrusive. It's actually more viable because you can get in and out of the situation and position more frequently and easily. But it didn't work out on a number of reasons. They lost a lot of picks in Banana that were costly.
Yep.
The situation and the fact that they were pushing a lot of times after they were in a 4-4 or were in a man advantage situation and getting caught out was questionable. And in the end, what CLG settled into the economy, Ricky had some phenomenal picks that really dictated the early part of the rounds. So it's look, a good effort, good result, good first half as well, and able to control the situation money-wise. But CLG, I think, gets away with this game in a lot of ways, and it sets up our bracket. They now play Misfits in the upper bracket to go directly into the final. Winner of the upper bracket, by the way, even though they're haven't won the event, they will qualify immediately. So they're essentially one series away from qualifying, if you will.
And now Liquid await, and CLG actually have a fan meetup. So if anyone wants to get in on that, go say what's up. And Complexity fall to play Liquid. That's a Titan, to say the least, on land.
That's tough.
We'll see if Complexity...
But that said, I mean, Liquid didn't have the best... Misfits brought a lot more to the table today, and I think that's what Sean and kind of can do. Sean's the master of counter strats. He always was, even at the top levels. So, like, if he even looked at all at what Liquid was going to do, he would have brought something specifically for that. Now he doesn't have time to determine who he was counter stratting against. So we'll see how that goes for Misfits. At the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how Liquid respond to that, because they didn't have the best game this morning.
You never know. If Complexities show up and Liquid are a little slow, we could have another upset. Stay tuned and find out, though, however, folks.